This plastic dollar store planter needs a makeover. Now that the paint is quite thick, a quick sanding with a sanding block, I want to cover the entire planter except the bottom. I want to brush on some dark gray paint. I want to add a little white. Finally, I want to seal the planter with a clear coat. It's time to fill my planter with potting soil and add a beautiful plant.
You are going to want to grab one of these plastic bowls. So I'm going to mix up some dark orange paint with a little bit of white. I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda. Now I'm just adding a light coat to the entire outside of the bowl. So I'm going to just grab some flour and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit onto the wet paint. Rub it in a little bit. Cut up some floral foam and put that into the bottom. I'm going to use some succulents that I picked up at Dollar Tree and just stick them in this bowl. I love how this turned out, and it is such an easy painting technique.
Using an X-Acto knife, I just cut off the top portion. Next, I'm going to take some craft paper. I'm scrunching it up. Then I'm also going to use extra masking tape. So I'm just going to wrap the whole thing in this craft paper and just cut out my handle. So I'm just going to rip the envelopes up into tiny little pieces and stick them into my blender. We're going to be using some Mod Podge, and I just spread it around onto my plastic container. And this is my finished vase here.
So I've got my vase and I'm dropping little spots onto the vase. So then I'm taking some cling wrap and laying that over the top, and I begin to smush the colours together. Lift the cling wrap and plop it down on another part of the vase. And so I keep going around the whole vase. I haven't added any more paint, and lay it on half of the vase and then very carefully peel it back. And you'll see that you have this really lovely kind of veining effect. And here is my finished vase. Doesn't it look great?
Found this storage box at the thrift store, and it's the perfect size for my file folders. So I'm going to use some paint to give it a look that I really like. I'm going to use some black paint to help cover up that pattern. And now I want to add the brown paint. I love the loose and uneven bristles on the chip brush. The final step is to cover the paint with wax. The wax gives the paint a really nice supple feel that mimics real leather. I'm thrilled with how good this storage box looks now.
You're not going to believe what I do with this vegetable oil. I added ready mix, concrete mix, peat moss, perlite, and water together and mixed well to create a thick concrete mixture. Next, I oiled the inside of a 20-liter bucket using the vegetable oil, and I carefully packed the concrete into the bucket on the bottom and then worked my way up the sides. After it dried for 24 hours, I flipped the bucket upside down to take it out, and I used a small wire brush and remove any loose dirt and dust around the sides and bottom. Brown, antique white, and gray acrylic paint and blended with a bit of water. And now I have a modern pot that looks like a limestone planter for a fraction of the price.
I'm going to grab this trash can, take the top off. Now I'm going to use a really strong adhesive. I'm going to put it all over the back of the stair tread and then wrap it around the trash can. I want to make this look a little bit antique, so I am using a silver rub and buff. And I'm going to put a little on the bottom of the can too. I'm going to put some drainage holes in this and place it in the top of the trash can. And now I can fill the top with soil and plants. This is an inexpensive way to use an old trash can.
I grabbed a corrugated cardboard box and a tin can. I cut the cardboard about a 1/4 inch taller than the tin can. I wet a tea towel and pressed it onto the top of the cardboard to make it damp so I could pull the top layer off, and painted the top 1/2 inch and top edge and painted the whole corrugated surface in antique white. I used a sponge to add black and blended it all together using my paintbrush. Spray painted some silver for a metallic touch. I wrapped it around the tin can, hot glued it together, and now I have a knockoff galvanized zinc vase.
I'm going to turn my foam ring over here, and I'm going to use some contact cement, and I'm going to put that all around the edge of my plate and attach it to the bottom of this ring. And I want to attach the other foam rings on top with whatever you choose to use to get some texture. You want to go ahead and you want to just put that texture all over. I'm just going to use some Fusion Mineral Paint in raw silk to paint your foam and the plate. My planters are ready to fill. I hope you enjoyed this project. They were so fun to put together.
I wanted to make some planters for my succulents. All I had to do was glue my bowls on top of my candlesticks using a rapid super glue that I just picked up at my local dollar store, and then I pressed them together. I came in with this accent stone spray paint, and so I just gave this one 2 solid coats of the spray paint. and I planted my succulents in them, and I am so happy with how this turned out.
I have the storage container, giving the container a quick sanding. I always dust my molds with cornstarch. I'm just going to keep adding clay, remove the excess clay, release the clay, and I'm going to lay them all out. I'm using some tacky glue to stick them in place. It's time to paint them. Give the container a beautiful faux stone look. I think this box and the texture are so fun.
2 blue buckets that I found at Dollar Tree, cutting the handles off, glue them together. I'm stacking my other bowl on top of it. We're gonna take our pool noodles and we're gonna start cutting them in half, putting enough glue and then holding the pool noodle in place to form the shape. I'm taking caulk, adding it to the indentations between my pool noodles, but I'm just gonna be painting this entire thing white. Stone spray paint, and we are going to spray it. And here is the finished product.